Okay, Clint Bowyer has joined us this morning. Clint drives the number 15 5-hour energy Toyota from Michael Waltrip Racing. And Clint, talk about coming to Kentucky Speedway. Certainly I know you're hungry for a win. You got 10 races before we set the chase field. Just talk about your outlook and getting around this racetrack here at Kentucky.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to getting back here. We ran second here last race, and you know, more importantly, just like you said, hungry for a win. I think there's obviously a lot of teams that are hungry for a win, but you know, I do believe we're finally you know, poised for a win. At this point in the season, we've finally got our consistency back. We've been running way better, and you know, more importantly, way better consistently week in and week out. So excited about where we're at. Excited about finally marching forward, you know, instead of backwards of where we were first 5, 6, 7 races of the season. So you know, last weekend was a bummer. I think we had, you know, a shot at it. We definitely got ourselves in position, and you know, just had a flat tire and then got some help out of the way. So you know, it's just that's Sonoma. It was fortunately for us, it happened early enough. We were able to get back out there and at least salvage a decent finish out of it, and you know, keep that consistency going. So looking forward to, you know, overcoming the obstacles of this racetrack, and that's getting through those you know, the rough parts of the track. If you can bounce through it better than the next guy, you know, all that horsepower and everything that the other guys are enjoying right now, if you can't put it, you know, down yet to the racetrack, you won't be able to use it. So hopefully we'll be able to overcome that with handling.
Good deal. We've got a couple right here. We go with Steve and then Mark.
Steve Richards of
okay.
PRN. Clint, if you could describe to fans what it feels like to drive on this racetrack, how rough, how bumpy it is, how would you describe it to them?
You know, it's all right. It's probably still smoother than any road that you've ever been on, but the difference is the you know, the setups and the race cars. They're so rigid. You know, huge springs. Very, very rigid. I mean, it feels like these things that you know, you hear the old lumber wagon. You've rode in a 1-ton pickup, you know, with nothing in it, not loaded down. It'll bounce you all over the road. I mean, it's kind of like that. You know, so it's definitely, you know, very rough, but it's due in part to the setups is a big part of that.
Let's go to Mark and then Jeff Gluck and then my gentleman here and then okay.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Clint, you know, you start the year with this new chase format. It's all about winning. Nobody talks about points. We have 10 races to go. Now there's 2 ways for you to get in. You know, win a race, lock it, but you guys are still in a position points-wise where you're at this point qualified. How does that alter the way you race, your strategy, so on and so forth?
Well, I mean, I wasn't one of the ones that was saying, it's all about winning, it's all about winning. I mean, you know, common sense tells you to look at the past history, and the math shows you that points will always, you know, I think points are always going to prevail. You know, he who has the most points is always going to win the championship. You know, points have always been able to race your way into the chase, and I think it still will today. But right now, we need a win. You know, we're at the point in our program with our 5-hour energy Toyota that we're desperately, you know, need a win, and we need to you know, throw it all out there and go for it and get ourselves a win somewhere. I mean, we were definitely you know, in the hunt and after one in Sonoma. We had a lot of confidence going in out there. We had a fast race car, and by all means we were chasing a win big time.
Go to Jeff and then my man here in the blue.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. Clint, this is the first time since 1996 at Dover where a full field hasn't showed up to qualify for a race. As a driver, does that worry you at all? Does that concern you? What do you think of that?
No, I don't. You know, for me, it's more important to have quality cars on the racetrack week in and week out than a number. I don't think you know, any set number has anything to do with the product of you know, our racing in this sport of NASCAR. It has to do with the product and being able to put a consistent you know, race winning competition on that racetrack for our fans. I mean, I think that's what's going to make a good race. It's not any kind of number that you can ever come up with. I've seen some of the best races I've ever seen with the front and first and second place guy in races, and just out in front of the field putting on a show. And I've also been at a local dirt track and watching the 10th and 11th place guys beating bang on each other and put on a show, and I know everybody else was. It like I said, it has to do with competition and good racing on the racetrack. Doesn't matter if it's for the lead or 43rd.
Let's go to LK and then to my man in the blue.
Lee K. Howard at Lexington CBS. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but you have run better each time you've been here in the past. Is that a product of you figuring out the track? Because some people say the more experienced drivers drive better here. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
Well, I mean, I think the experience is because they can set their cars up to handle, the rough stuff. They can figure out that, all right, it isn't all about this one lap and being fast on the racetrack. I've got to be able to back this up, get some mechanical grip on my race car, and be good, on lap 15 to 20 or 25. That's the experience talking. But still, in today's day and age, it's not all about that driver setting his race car up anymore. It's about the preparation that went into this weekend with the engineers. The simulation and everything that goes into having a good run on any given weekend. That's where these races are won and lost anymore.
Thought I saw another hand somewhere. Anybody? Right here? And then Chris.
Charlie Leffler, Bullitt County Sports. Considering the character of this track, does it put more emphasis on your crew's performance?
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, these races, preparation is everything. You haven't seen Hendrick Motorsport, would they win 5 in a row? Those guys are all good race car drivers, but they were in pretty superior equipment anytime you win 5 in a row against this kind of competition. So, it's the same way that goes into this weekend. You've got to be able to prepare. The obstacle is the challenge for this weekend is overcoming, the bumps of this racetrack. That's what's going to win this race. And if you can do that and prepare yourself better than the next guy, like I said, I think this is a racetrack that can overcome some of that horsepower disadvantage and things that we've seen. That always cycles around. Everybody's seen their time in the sun and with that program within the engines, but the setups and things like that. This is going to take a little bit different setup than we've seen on your typical mile-and-a-half racetrack.
Take 2 more, Chris, and then we'll end with Stan.
Chris Knight, NASCAR Water Service. Clint, talked to your team yesterday. Said that they were pretty confident in your car this weekend. They said that you guys may not show what you guys really have until the race tomorrow night, but they also said that they were looking forward to Daytona next week. So just get your thoughts on what your team said yesterday and then Daytona next week.
Well, they probably said that based on the driver's performance last year at this race. We were, I think, dead last in practice and started the race miserable and just drove up through them and, contended for a win. I don't know. We tend to struggle here in practice of finding that speed, but as soon as the pace slows down and you get down to racing, we can drive up through them and had a good day out of it. So, or a good night out of it. Looking forward to it. This is a fun racetrack. It is a challenge to get through those bumps in the corners, but like I said, that's an opportunity. We got to be able to pounce on opportunities right now in the situation we're in. Daytona is another opportunity. A lot of people go into Daytona right now looking over their shoulders and not worried about the task at hand and just going out there and winning the race, getting yourself in position, and that's been a good track for us. So we're looking forward to that one as well. Yeah.
Go ahead, Stan, final question.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. You just used the word superior to this gentleman's question. And the average fan, unfortunately, will think that superior is the difference between a Volkswagen and a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Fans are pretty smart. It's kind of. I saw Rolls go by me the other day.
How close really is the difference, but yet still so superior?
Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick split me going down the front straightaway at Michigan and cleared me and raced each other. Had a hell of a race getting into one afterwards. I guess that's my best way to explain superior. But once I got in a corner, I joined the battle again, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. Do they drive Rolls Royces?
I've never seen them drive one. They might.
No, it's like I said. I mean, you have to enjoy that because that always comes full circle. I mean, in all fairness of the sport and everything that we do, the engines are something that we all get to enjoy from time to time. And right now, that Hendrick camp, which is 37 of them anymore, seem like they're enjoying it quite a bit.
Clint, good luck this weekend.